Hi, it's Michelle from the Bead Gallery, and I'm going to show you how to make one of these fun little woven crystal balls. We made it with 12 Swarovski crystal bicones. These little ones are made with 4mm crystals, but we're going to do bigger ones just to show you what it looks like and so you can see it easier in this video. I wouldn't really suggest using 8mm bicones to do this project, but you can if you want to. And we're going to be weaving with clear beading thread, nylon. This one is not clear, but because we wanted you to be able to see it easier in the video, we're using black fishing line. But again, we're going to be using, to make the balls for real, 0.010 clear beading thread. Okay, so again, this only takes 12 crystals, so it's pretty fast and easy to do. What you're gonna do is string on a crystal. Actually, you're gonna string on 3 of them. 2, 3. Now, bead weaving is a technique that you do where you work with both ends of the thread at the same time. Okay, so I strung 3 crystals on my thread, and I want them kind of in the center. Then I'm going to cross my threads through a 4th bead like this. And notice when you cross your threads through a bead, it has to, your thread ends have to enter and exit the bead in opposite directions, okay? Okay, so our ring is centered on the thread, and we have like a ring of 4 crystals here. Now I'm going to build something that's like a little ladder. So I'm going to put a bead on each thread end, and I usually keep the bead up high before I let them drop so I know that I have one on each end, like so. Then you're going to cross your threads through another bead. And again, opposite directions. You want the thread to go into the bead. Okay, you can pull tight like this. See how I have a second ring that's stuck onto the first ring. I'm going to repeat that one more time. That a bead on each thread, and then we're going to cross our thread. So if you did this wrong and you poke both thread ends into the bead in the same direction, that's not correct, and then you can tell because it kind of looks like this. Okay, that is a no-no. Okay, so if that happened to you, just take out one of the strings and poke it in the opposite direction. Whoops. Okay, and then you just pull tight. All right, now for the last step, you see we only have 2 crystals left. There's a couple of ways you can close up your ball. Okay, the way I like to is I'm going to string a crystal on one of the strings. Okay, and I'm going to go through the first bead at the bottom of my ladder, like that. And then I'm going to string on the second bead on a string, and you're going to tie your thread ends together. And you see how it pulled into a little ball? That's like magic. Okay, and then you're going to square knot the thread ends together. Just like that. We have a little ball, and you're going to notice that 2 of the ends, 2 of the sides of your ball are really loose. And the reason for that is because the 4 crystals that make up the ring on the edges of your ball, they're not connected to each other. They're just on neighboring rings, so they're kind of just next to each other, but they're not stuck together. If you want your ball to be really firm, you can run your thread through those rings like that, and it'll reinforce your piece and your ball will firm up. Okay, but those 2 loose rings on the sides of your ball are a good place to, say, add your ear wire, because it's very open, so you can string it on through there, just like we did here. Or that's the space where you can run your chain to string these crystals onto a necklace. And to get that through there, what I like to do is I'll use a piece of fishing line, kind of like the black string that I just made the ball with, and I'll hook it through the chain like a needle, and then you just kind of poke it through. There you go. Okay, so then you can have your ball on a chain. And one thing you want to do with your thread ends that are in your piece, hold on while I yank this out, is after you tied your knot, you want to run your thread ends back through your piece, back through a few beads in your piece. And this is called reinforcing, and what this also does is it makes it safe to cut your thread ends away, because if you cut your thread ends right up against your knot could undo, and then your piece would fall apart, and that would be sad. Okay. So when you reinforce a piece, you always want to go through beads that are right next to each other. Okay, you don't want to go from this bead to this bead here, because then you're going to see string. So always go through neighboring beads. And if you have trouble feeding your thread into a bead hole, sometimes it helps to hold the tip of the thread with a chain nose plier and feed it into the hole like this, a little at a time. Okay. Just like that. And then you're going to use a sharp scissors and trim your thread end away, and then you'll be done. That's it.